doing well tonight, or this morning, or today, or whenever you're listening to this. Anyway, I thought I'd do something a little different this week and read some poems by my favorite poet, Emily Dickinson, instead of a storybook, for a little bit of a change. Now, you may notice my voice is slightly different this week. Ironically, considering the last book that I read was The Bunnies Get Well Soup, I have picked up a bit of a cold since then. Occupational hazard in the job I have with everyone crowding into the classrooms and such. But anyway, let's get on to Emily Dickinson. I managed to pick up this book years ago at a Friends of the Library sale, and it was real fine because I had no idea how many poems that she had written. I ran into her when I was doing my college studies in American Lit, and I just really love her stuff. But she was so prolific, and as you can see, by just how thick this book is, and almost all of it poems. The back, of course, has the index, but then the poems start and all the way to the front here, with just a little beginning index, or not index, prologue, introduction. Yeah, as I said, the cold is a little bit taking a little bit of my mental energy, but I'm going to just choose a few of my favorite poems because there are so many here. And I am also being a little picky with what I choose because although I love the variety of Emily's poems, she did lean towards specific themes, as all writers or creators do. She wrote a lot of nature poems and poems about religion and other things of that nature. But she also was very much a person who wrote death poems, and while that is good for certain times, I'd like to keep things light tonight. So perhaps another time I can delve into her darker side. But for the moment, we can start with number 5. I have a bird in spring, which for myself does thing. The spring decoys, and as the summer nears, and as the rose appears, robin is gone. Yet do I not repine, knowing that bird of mine, though flown, learneth beyond the sea melody new from me, and will return. Fast as a safer hand held in a truer land are mine, and though they now depart, till I my doubting heart, they're thine. In a serener bright, in a more golden light I see each little doubt and fear, each little discord here removed. Then will I not repine, knowing that bird of mine, though flown, shall in a distant tree bright melody from me return. garlands for queens may be. Garlands for queens may be, laurels for rare degree of soul or sword. Ah, but remember me, but remembering thee, nature and chivalry, nature and charity, nature and equity, the rose ordained. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. Number 41, I robbed the woods. I robbed the woods, the trusting woods. The unsuspecting trees brought out their burrs and mosses, my fantasy to please. I scanned their trinkets curious. I grasped. I bore away. What will the solemn hemlock? What will the oak tree say? It reminds me of being a kid and going out with walks with my parents up into the mountains and picking out acorns and leaves and all those different things, using them for school projects, and looking to see how the things were falling off the trees and scattering amongst the ground and stuff. But yeah. Let's see. I think I'm going to skip over a little bit. Oh, this is a good one. 101. Will there really be a morning? Will there really be a morning? Is there such thing as day? Could I see it from the mountains if I were as tall as they? Has it feet like water lilies? Has it feathers like a bird? Is it brought from famous countries of which I have never heard? Oh, some scholar, oh, some sailor, oh, some wise man from the skies, please to tell little pilgrim where the place called morning lies. Ah, 106. The daisy follows soft the sun. The daisy follows soft the sun, and when his golden walk is done, sits shyly at his feet. He, waking, finds the flower there. Wherefore, marauder, art thou here? Because, sir, love is sweet. We are the flower, thou the sun. Forgive us, if as days decline, we nearer steal to thee. Enamored of the parting west, the peace, the flight, the amethyst, night's possibility. (111) The bee is not afraid of me. The bee is not afraid of me. I know the butterfly. The pretty people in the woods receive me cordially. The brooks laugh louder when I come. The breezes madder play. Wherefore mine eye thy silver mists? Wherefore, O summer's day? Here's one I was looking for. 173. A fuzzy fellow without feet. A fuzzy fellow without feet, yet doth exceeding run. A velvet is his countenance, and his complexion dun. Sometime he dwelleth in the grass, sometime upon a bough, from which he doth descend in plush upon the passer-by. All this is in summer, but when the winds alarm the forest folk, he taketh Damask residence and struts in sewing silk. Then, finer than a lady, emerges in the spring, a feather on each shoulder, you'd scarce recognize him. By men yclept caterpillar, by me, but who am I to tell the pretty secret of the butterfly? I think that's been one of my favorites recently. I just like the description of the caterpillar slowly changing his looks as the seasons bear on. From summer into winter and back into spring. Okay, let's see. There's another one I was looking for. What was it? Some around here I thought I remembered. Oh, this one's fun. It's a short one, but I like it a lot. 185. Faith is a fine intervention when gentlemen can see, but microscopes are prudent in an emergency. I've heard that this one was about Emily's sentiments regarding faith. Well, of course, faith, but religion and God and all that stuff in general. That faith is good for when you can understand it or see it, but sometimes science is needed for other things. I don't know. It's been a while since I analyzed poems or really was in a class with the poems. It's not something you run into quite as much of the age group that I work with. So, let's see. 181. This was the one. This one felt very different to me. But yeah, 181. I lost a world the other day. I lost a world the other day. Has anybody found? You'll know it by the rows of stars around its forehead bound. A rich man might not notice it, yet to my frugal eye, of more esteem than ducats, I'll find it, sir, for me. Emily has such a way of looking at things. I swear I would have loved to find out how she saw the world. I've heard it said because she seems to focus so much on details in her poems that they actually think she may have been nearsighted to a incredible degree, so that her backyard became pretty much her world. And that's the reason that she focuses so intensely on the nature that she would have seen in her backyard and her surrounding areas. But I don't know. I just think it's, yeah. Here's another nature one. She tends to put her poems, or at least her poems seem to be put together into collections of sorts. You'll run into a whole bunch of religious ones or a bunch of death-themed ones. Some things that are a little bit more obscure almost. And then you'll run into a whole bunch of nature-esque, very lighthearted in some ways poems. So I have a feeling we have kind of ran into a whole bunch of those right now. But 191. The skies can't keep their secret. The skies can't keep their secret. They tell it to the hills. The hills just tell the orchards, and they the daffodils. A bird by chance that goes that way soft overhears the whole. If I should bribe the little bird, who knows but she would tell. I think I won't, however. It's finer not to know. If somewhere were an axiom, what sorcery had snow? So keep your secret, father. I would not if I could know what the sapphire fellows do in your new-fashioned world. Oh, this is one of her famous ones. 249. Wild nights, wild nights. wild nights, were I with thee, wild nights should be our luxury. Futile the winds to a heart in port, down with the compass, down with the chart. Rowing in Eden on the sea, might I but moor tonight in thee. Now, you can see some of the notes I took. Not very well, but I took some notes in pencil in one of my undergrad classes in college. I had just managed to find this book at a library, full Friends of the Library sale, and we did a sizable chunk of Emily Dickinson's poems, so instead of lugging along my Longman, was it the Longman? I don't know. Instead of lugging along a anthology that was probably, to be honest, more than likely thicker than this book here, quite a bit thicker than this book here, quite a deal heavier, I ended up bringing along my book of Emily Dickinson to keep me company in between classes as well. Let's see. I like this one. 276. Many a phrase has the English language. I have heard but one, low as the laughter of the cricket, loud as the thunder's tongue, murmuring like old Caspian choirs when the tide's a lull, sang itself in a new inflection, like a whippoorwill, breaking in bright orthography on my simple sleep, thundering in perspective till I stir and weep. Not for the sorrow done me, but the push of joy. Say it again, Saxon, hush, only to me. Oh, here's another famous one. This is actually one of the first that I read by her, other than one that I had to learn when I was in elementary school, I think. This one I ran into in high school in an anthology of slam poetry that a teen magazine had put out. It was a mesh of like old poems and new slam poetry and poems by teenagers that had sent in stuff to the magazine. But anyway, that's beside the point. This is probably the first poem that I read of Emily Dickinson's where I was really aware of who she was. So I guess for that reason, this one feels a little special to me. And also it's just quirky in that weird, interesting way that Emily can be quirky. But yeah, 288. I'm nobody. Who are you? I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They'd advertise, you know. How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frog, to tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog. I have to wonder if she knew how well known she was today, how she would feel about it, considering her sentiments in this. Speaking of the one I had to learn in elementary school, I think it's somewhere through here. Oh, here it is. I had to learn this, as I said, in elementary school. I don't think it's one of them that they made us memorize, but my school was very, very bad for that, for making us memorize poems and making me absolutely hate them. Yeah, but I think this is one they actually let us enjoy and not put to memory. 318, I'll tell you how the sun rose. I'll tell you how the sun rose, a ribbon at a time. The steeples swam in amethyst, the news like squirrels ran. The hills untied their bonnets, the bobolinks begun. Then I said softly to myself, that must have been the sun. But how he set, I know not. There seemed a purple stile that little yellow boys and girls were climbing all the while, till, when they reached the other side, a dominie in grey put gently up the evening bars and led the flock away. Yeah, I remember that one well now because they actually had, I believe, a little illustration of children dressed in yellow, like dresses and I think overalls. I don't know, maybe I'm just making that up. I don't know. But all climbing along something. I don't know. Maybe that was just something my imagination put in there. But let's see. I think there's one more through here. I think I just ran across it if I recall. And then perhaps we'll stop there. Yes. This is possibly one of my favorites right now. Or has been recently. It's a little non-traditional in regards to views on a religious service, a little bit more naturalistic, which, I don't know, makes a little bit of sense. All the college classes really lumped her in with the transcendentalists, and they were very, very non-traditional when it came to religion. But, yeah. 324. Some keep the Sabbath going to church. Some keep the Sabbath going to church. I keep it staying at home, with a bobolink for a chorister and an orchard for a dome. Some keep the Sabbath in surplice. I just wear my wings. Instead of tolling the bell for church, our little sexton sings. God preaches, a nutty clergyman, and the sermon is never long. So instead of getting to heaven at last, I'm going all along. I think I will call it for the night. And considering the absolutely large, insane amount of poems still yet to read, perhaps I might come back to Emily Dickinson at a future point when my camera is a little bit better quality. I'm sorry that the words are so grainy and blurry at times. I feel like it's been doing that the whole time. But anyway. read through these. I very much have enjoyed going back through and getting to read some of